We are live.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another Triple Crown Industry Chat with me, JP, Jerry, the main man Lyons, and Paul, Facebook ad extraordinaire Long. How are you doing, chaps?
Really, really good. Thank you.
Good, good.
Very good.
Start off with you, Jerry. What have you been up to lately? Have you been busy?
Yeah, we've been ticking over. Our very wonderful South African VA has just had a baby. Congratulations to Carmen and her family. Like literally on Friday. Baby was due Friday and turned up Friday. And that's a kid that's going places. Do you know what I mean? I'm gonna. We always say to our Charlotte, because she shot into the world, and we always said like the speed hasn't stopped since. She's 100 miles an hour. And I think little Hendre, to pronounce it properly, is going to do well. So congratulations to them. But all good, all good.
Do you know what kind of makes sense? Because Jack, my middle one, was late, and he's flipping late to everything. So it kind of works out well. Yeah. So good. What about you, Paul? Have you had a busy couple of weeks since we last spoke?
Yeah, it has been really busy at the moment, which is really good. Nothing really exciting though. Nothing as exciting as Jerry's, I'm afraid. No new babies or anything else going on. Just really busy, which I think is good. I think there's a little bit of a calm after the storm with the markets going a bit mad with all the completions, stamp duty, and everything else. So yeah. It's good to start catching up with a lot of people who were all caught up in that, to be honest, which is good. And I notice you're glowing, John. Is there a reason why we're glowing?
Yeah, we've seen the sun for the first time since 1992 up in the northeast, and I went to play cricket. So I was playing cricket, and it was glorious sunshine in God's country, all the way up in Cowden, County Durham, near Bishop Auckland. Some may say it's a boil on the arse of nowhere. I quite agree. Terrible place. Yeah, but no, it was good. We got absolutely hammered. But as I was walking out the door, Gemma said, "Don't forget to put your factor 50 on." I went, "I'll be all right. It'll be fine." Got there, burnt to a crisp. Because I forgot.
Just out of curiosity, what do you prefer, cricket or rugby?
I prefer rugby, but my body's broken, so I can't play rugby, so I'll play cricket. I used to do both when I was younger, and then I packed in cricket. I packed in the rugby to do the MMA. So I think doing rugby and MMA is just it's 365. You just don't get a break. But yeah, I love cricket because it's just different crack. Like the rugby lads are good crack, and the cricket lads are good crack, and they don't necessarily know each other or particularly. They're not each other's vibe, but they're just different. Yeah, it's good.
Good. Right, one sec. Wait, you lot crack on. My dog is trying to get into my office.
Yeah, I tell you what. So, thanks for asking, Paul. I'll tell you what I've been up to. It's been a really, really busy couple of weeks. We're raising another round for Prospector Pro, the tech company. So that is so interesting. Like, the valuation's gone through the roof, which is brilliant for our investors. And that wasn't us investing it. That was valuing it. That was a VC basically. So a VC's coming in on board. I can't say I do too much because they want to do the announcement. But it's ridiculously good news for us, and it'll allow us to. We're already recruiting 2 new devs, so we've put one job offer out to another guy, which is great. Unfortunately, the other 2 that got through the finalists, 3 of them we liked. One offered the job, he's accepted, brilliant. The other 2 just weren't quite, because you go through, it's in estate agency terms, as you interview them a couple of times, they're absolutely fantastic, and then you plonk them down and you say, right, show me how you do a Section 21, or show me how you do a rent increase. That's what we did, but in techie terms, and 2 of them kind of a little bit on some of the things that we did. But yeah, that was good. And then I was into a very, very large sort of corporate on Thursday last week, and that went well, that demo. So yeah, going reasonably well at the minute.
Excellent. You got some new features coming out, I think, as well. Is that right?
Yeah, so incoming calls is coming. So to be fair, the rest of May and part of June is we're setting it up for growth. So if you imagine when you build something and you haven't got a blueprint because it's the first time you've ever built it. This is the way it got explained to me, and it makes perfect sense. So nothing like this has been built before, which there hasn't, especially in this industry. So you're building it and you're building it and you listen to your clients and you're doing what you think. It's a bit like a house. If you've never seen a house before and you've never built it, you go, you think it. Then all of a sudden you take a step back and you go, I shouldn't have put the window there. And why is that door doing here? So you kind of, it's called refactoring, you rebuild it. So that's what we're doing for the next 3 weeks, where we're just rebuilding it ready for that growth. But the things that we're working on is inbound calls. It's going to be amazing. So inbound call comes in, we'll be able to split down, is it a landlord, tenant, vendor, applicant? And not only that, so we'll be able to tell you on average what is the percentage of tenants that phone landlords, but we will also be able to break down the reasons why, because our AI will listen to the call. So it'll tell you what percentage were for complaints, frustrations, this, and then we're going to run a level of AI over the top of it. How many buying opportunities did you miss? So if an applicant phones up and says, oh, can I see 22 The Avenue? Yeah, sure. We'll start to do reports at how many times you didn't ask them who's your current mortgage, or if you've got a mortgage advisor, if you've got a solicitor, is there anything else you've seen? So we'll start to be able to produce reports, potentially how many business opportunities you've missed, who in particular has missed them, so you can give that relevant qualification, that relevant training, but also the phone calls. So you can listen to the phone calls and go, see here, that was a missed buying opportunity. So you should have said this, or have you thought about saying that? So it's just about improving your team.
It's also good that, because you think of it with my marketing head on. If you use it for your letting agency, say, you can turn around to the landlords and say, look, we know from the data we get from our call platform, AI platform, that the most common complaint is X.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? And then you say, we've armed with that data, we've made sure that we've got Y and Z to box off X.
That complaint. Yeah.
If it's a boiler complaint, right, landlords, there's so many marketing possibilities off the back of that.
Yeah, I think so. I was just on that, Jerry. I was thinking you can start looking at what the demand is for what type of properties, can't you, quite quickly? The conversations, what 3 beds in a certain area, and you can look at that data and say, right, let's go and target that type of property. Good
point. I'll tell you the next stage. So that's actually getting built after Glue Dog. So Glue Dog's a really good idea. So that's Mark McCorry's, who's got made Snappy. So Glue Dog is just like Zapier, but for CRMs and for prop tech. So effectively, they are the key that allows the CRM to integrate, and then something to integrate the CRM. So that'll give us another half a dozen CRMs. But the thing we're working on then is voice agents. So I know there's a couple of people who have brought voice agents out, but in all honesty, they're crap, because I've listened to them. There's one that's pretty decent. I'm not going to mention any names, but in the main, it's just the text just not there, and we know that. That's why we've not been first. When we go to market with it, we want to be the best, not the first. So if you think about an incoming call, everyone's like missing calls or taking repairs but missing it. If we can get our AI voice agent to look at the low urgent, low important calls and actually be able to deal with them. So if you think about it, the majority of your calls, if you're an all estate agent / letting agent, is going to be from your tenants. The majority of the tenants' calls are going to be from report and repair or potentially booking a viewing. So if we get an AI voice agent to do that, we think based on current clients, you're probably going to reduce your inbound calls by about 60%.
Wow.
So if you're not taking 60% of calls and you can concentrate on, because the voice agent's doing it. The voice agent is literally saying, yes, I'll book that in, CRM, booking it in, sending out emails, WhatsApps, SMS, taking repair, sending emails and WhatsApps to your contractor, and then reporting back, doing everything through WhatsApp. So if you can do that and reduce your inbound calls by 60%, you either, when somebody leaves and moves on to another industry, you won't need to replace them, or you can just get them looking at the income generating tasks and start to prospect a bit more. So exciting stuff.
Yeah. Very, very good. I've got something that I want to chat about. And I saw that, John, I think you were doing some bits on this the other day as well. And that was regarding leads and prospects, and the fact that most agents don't really know the difference when it comes to generating leads. So one of the conversations I often have, and I don't know if John, you've heard this before, is that a lot of agents will say that, you know, these leads are rubbish that are being generated. These are crap leads. But I think it always comes back to that a lot of agents just don't know the difference between a lead and a prospect. And I think really the biggest problem is the mindset or the expectation, which I think there is some real confusion there when looking at both. So a lot of the time, there's a lot of leads now being generated, isn't there, with things like social media, advertising, Facebook advertising, even Google leads, and the other direction, where in the past, it was very much just recommendations, referrals, phone calls, people walking into the office. And I really don't think we've caught up with agents understanding the difference. We've been trained. I just wondered what your thoughts were on that.
Totally agree, because as you know, you market to them differently. So in tech, you MQLs and SQLs, market and sales, qualified leads and sales qualified leads. So a market and qualified lead is where they've opted in. They want something from you, so they've given their details. A sales qualified lead is when somebody's spoken to them and you can help them and they want to be helped. And the problem is people really want the SQLs, the sales qualified leads. When we spoke to them, yes, you want to sell your house and stuff, but the MQLs, and I can't remember the figures, but I looked at it a couple of months ago. To write articles, it's something like 21 to 30% or something of leads are being ignored because they're just perceived to be MQLs. So effectively, you're losing a fifth to a third of potential business because you don't look at online valuation tools, or someone who's inquired about a house, or an applicant who's not interested in this particular property. So, all right, well, we'll just leave them. You know, Josh Fagan, who's a very famous Australian trainer, he talks about you can be a tenant, you could also be a landlord, but you could be looking to buy and also selling at the same time. Very rare, but people don't put as much importance on one person. They say, oh, it's just a tenant. That tenant might buy that tenant. I know loads of people who are tenants, but they also own property, or they're a tenant because they haven't found the right. My sister-in-law is moving to a property near us, and the people they're buying it off haven't got anywhere to. They haven't found their perfect home, but not to slow up the chain, because it's quite a difficult chain. They're moving to rented accommodation. They'll have an absolute ton of money in the bank. But according to traditional estate agents, they wouldn't be treated the same as like a hot buyer. So I just think I think our industry lacks a lot of things what other industries have. So the biggest thing, again, getting into tech, there's a specific way how you do a demo. There's a specific way how you do qualifying questions. There's a specific way of, don't do a tour of the product, do a demonstration of the product. How you set up that demo prior to even showing them it.
Yeah.
Very rare that happens in a estate agency.
No, it seems like we are stuck in as I say, the old systems with regards to where the referrals are coming from, which is maybe that'll change as younger generation come into the industry. The other thing that I was on a webinar the other day, which really surprised me, and I'm sure you've seen probably stats on this as well, is with leads, how many times it takes to get hold of a lead. So compared to a prospect. So they were saying that on average, it can be 10 times to get 10 dials to get hold of a lead, not a prospect, a lead. So just someone that's come through. And then you're most likely going to get 5 no's before a yes, even when you do get hold of them, because obviously it's so early in the stage and there's a lot of conversations there. So again, if agents are going in with the mindset of one chance, I'll phone this person twice, well, that's nowhere near enough when you think how many times they're saying that you need to be calling these people to try and get hold of them. So I thought that was interesting about where people are going wrong there as well.
Yeah.
What
are you seeing with regards to, and Jerry, I think you might have some feedback on this.
I just think that's a funny one with the calls. If somebody called, I always try to put myself in the position of the punter, whatever it is, whatever business we've been in, we've always tried to be in the position of the punter. So there, I'm thinking, if somebody's calling me 5 times, I'm like, mate, get the message, read the room. I ain't calling you back. It doesn't matter how many times. Do you know what I mean? And I get that you have to follow up. But I wonder when it becomes almost counterproductive for the estate agents because people go, oh, they're pissing me off now. Do you know what I mean? I wonder if there's a sweet spot to, or just go, this is the last time I'm going to call you, but if you do want to chat about YZ, get back to me.
Again,
maybe I'm just a moany old man. It's maybe
no,
that.
It's a good point because when is enough enough? I mean, I used to say you call them back until A, you get the business, or B, they get a restraining order against you. So
I've heard until they buy or until they die. Somebody said to me.
Oh, I like that. But I think you can call them. You've just got to, and it's fine repeatedly calling them until they buy or die or tell you to bugger off. But just have that gap. If you phone them every day, that'd be an annoyance. If you phone them there's a couple of people that are blanking us for Prospector Pro, and we send them what's called a breakup email, and it's like, "Hi Jerry, really, really sorry. I don't want to keep chewing you. Just let me know if this is for you." And there's a question: if it's something you're interested in, it's not the right time, or you would like to schedule a call, and probably about 80-90% say, we love it, it's just a bit busy. So there's one guy, he's got 5 or 6 branches, clever guy, and I got nothing from about 2 or 3 emails, and I sent him the breakup one. He said, just busy doing an acquisition, JP, just give us a couple of weeks and I'll come back to you. So I've diarised it, end of May, I'll chase him.
Yeah, you've almost led me on to what I was thinking about before this call. So we've got this daily idea WhatsApp group, right? And my goal was get 1,000 people in it, get 1,000 people in it, get 1,000 people in it. And we've got up to 750 and it's gone down. It's gone down, right? But the people leaving are not the people we're after. So it's almost like we've been chasing a false metric.
Yeah.
And it only dropped over the weekend because I was thinking, I only really need 250 of the ones that I'm after. Not the estate agents that you would know the type. They're just not your market. They're just dilly-dalliers. Do you know what I mean? Big talkers. And I hate to say it, but a lot of these partner agents fall into that category for us. Yeah. They like the idea and but I haven't got £150 to spend on marketing a month. Well, if that's the case, you are screwed.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Or you better hope that your mother agent is doing a hell of a lot of marketing on Facebook, on prospecting, and all this sort of stuff. And I remember reading about this years ago. A guy was saying it's almost like not pre-Facebook, but it was early digital times, right? And he was saying about chasing big numbers, vanity metrics in your marketing rather than the real people, right? Yeah. And that got me thinking because I'm reading a book about the footballer Johan Cruyff, and it was written in I think it's 2000s. This version I'm listening to, he's talking about football then, as football is now. The goalkeeper has to be really good on the ball. A lot of the defenders started, especially the wide players, as attacking players, and that made me think. Right, there's so much wisdom in old books.
Yeah,
and I know you're into it, JP, because you've got all those books there to your right that you never read. But I'm
never well.
And then I do think the chase of the new can sometimes make us not look at the wisdom of the old.
Totally agree, mate. Totally agree. There's a lot to be said for old-fashioned or traditional ways of doing stuff. There's a really good book called Mean Business, and it's that good. I've forgotten who wrote it, but he talks about like how to do buying and selling acquisitions and stuff. And he said something, and I've seen it being, twisted into things to suit the estate agency, but business is a contact sport. And that's what he said. He says it's all business is tough, and you've got to make tough decisions. But anyway, there's a lot of worldly wisdom in his old-fashioned way of just pick up the phone, don't hide behind stuff, pick up the phone, have a conversation. If you need to have a screaming match, move on, be best friends.
Yeah, yeah. And I think as well, like you said about that old wisdom, I think for me, it's like the business or biographies or sporting biographies. Yeah. So I think some people say, "Oh, I've done this course, I've done this, I've done that," and you think, really, that don't work for my way of learning. I'm better off reading a book or listening to and Johan Cruyff say something about the structural organisation of a football team. And I'm thinking, actually, that works in the business world. Do you know what I mean? So yeah. But anyway, Johan Cruyff, God rest his soul. You know you're good when you've got a football move named after you.
Has he? Yes, yeah. It's when you pull it back.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Done every day, that move. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a bit like me. I've got one called the Jerry Swerve, and it's when I see a bit of work coming my way, I'm out of the way, mate. I'm out of the way.
It's never been beat, has it? The Jerry Swerve.
Never been. I'm like, oh, she's good like that.
Not to be confused with the Jerry Curl, because they're completely different things.
Yeah, they are.
Lockdown.
Yeah, so there you go. But that's all my contribution for the day is done there. I just wanted to get Johan Croising.
I think I want to talk about a little bit to do with that, and it's to do with the tail wagging the dog, or the opposite way around. So what we are seeing in business is good ideas not being implemented because the bosses are too scared, worried, frightened of how their team are going to react. And I think that is absolutely criminal in the way you run a business. So they're saying, well, I don't know. I mean, there was one guy, he had a demo with us. It was only a single branch. And I find it's mostly in independent agents, 1 or 2 branches. And he said, oh, I don't know if my team would like this call recording. And what I want to say was, so? are you bothered if they're going to like it or not? Nobody likes the recording. But if they're not doing anything improper or they're doing everything correct, then they've got nothing to worry about. And I just think that a lot of agents are going to struggle unless they start to say, right, this is what the business needs. This is for the good of the business. We're doing this. We'd love you to come along on the journey with us, as wonky as that sounds. We'd love you to be there at the end. But if you can't level up or you can't improve, then see it. And I had a call with somebody to join as a coaching client literally an hour ago. And she said she saw me post about how you got to surround yourself with a high-performing team. So if you want to win the Premiership, look at Wrexham, football and analogy. They have done it brilliantly. And I'm not even a massive football fan, but they've leveled up at every opportunity to get better players in. Not to piss the old ones off, but what they've done is they've given the old ones the chance to level up their performance. And if they level up, absolutely brilliant. But if they don't, sorry, mate, you're not going to take us to where we need to be. We're going to have to get somebody else in.
But Wrexham is interesting because they spent on infrastructure as well. Obviously, but a lot of estate agents, and I get it, would be going, well, yeah, but I haven't got millions to spend on infrastructure. You can make your office better.
Of course you can.
I know one agent who I love, I wouldn't go and work in his office. I'm like, nah, no chance. That's depressing, mate. I'm not going there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just simple things. Like I think you said one of your posts recently was, like given the right tools, like good laptop, good, like good setup, a nice chair, like this sort of stuff, and raise the standards that way. So yeah,
we did it. We did it. It was before I sold the agency, probably about 2 to 3 years, and it's quite embarrassing actually. Come to think of it, we did a survey with our current team, and it was anonymized. They say it was anonymized, but you could see where the IP address was, so you knew what branch it was. Well, I knew Hexham said this, or Easington said that, or
I remember this.
Can you remember? It was when we were together. And a lot of the feedback came back, like, because it's your baby. You think that, it's your baby. No one's got an ugly kid, right? And it came back, and a lot of them said there was a real disconnect between the management and the team on the workshop floor. And we knew for a fact it wasn't us because we had monthly managers meetings. So we were giving the information to the managers. The managers weren't dispelling that to them. That was the first thing. But the second big, so sort of going back, how can you expect your team to do a job if they can't be bought into the vision? You look at any high-performing team; they all share that North Star. They know exactly where they're going. There's no confusion. Everybody knows their part on the bus. Everyone knows what part of their cog is in this big wheel. But the other thing was our tech. A lot of them were saying my screen's knackered, my keyboards. One person literally had all the keyboard like wiped off because she'd been there that long. Another one, Jodie, bless her, she said that she had to wait 20 minutes every morning. She had to come in at 20 to turn the computer on, and then it was ready at 9 o'clock.
Yeah, it's not good enough.
Mate, it was just crazy. But we didn't ask, so they don't tell. So it's our fault, 100% our fault, and we just put a 6-month plan in to just renewing everybody's tech. But efficiencies that gets for a little bit of investment.
Yeah. And the lift of like we're going places. We're worth working for. It's a nice place to come to work. That's something I've noticed with a lot of the really good independent agents. The office environment is pretty good.
Yeah.
Actual nice desks, chairs, blah 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 blah.
Yeah, it's a nice place to work. I mean, it's quite big at the minute, isn't it? The acoustic boards and like oak slats, they look pretty cool. And nice. I can't remember. I think it was James Kendall. He was selling some desks. I remember thinking they were swanky, the ones he was selling. And I was thinking, Jesus, if he doesn't like them anymore, how good are the ones he's getting in? Because obviously I worked with James for a bit as well, but he's a good agent, and he's very much. But when you're doing mid to high end, or he's doing high end, you've got to have that vibe. You've got to have that appearance.
I don't even think just high end. I just think, like I agree to a certain point. The high end has to match the marketing, has to match the aspirations of the type of client base. But just have a nice environment to go to work in. Even if it's like my office is probably my favourite room in the house, and it's not even in the house, it's down the bottom of the garden.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I like my office. It's I've got an old fashioned desk. I've got a bit of paneling and stuff. It's nothing fun. It's small. It's a very small office, but it's nice to go to. I went to San Diego a good few years ago now to Brendan Bouchard conference. So Brendan Bouchard is basically like Tony Robbins light. So we're there for 3.5 days, and he comes on. He does this awkward dad dance, and he's talking about mindset and all that sort of crap. And they got this guy, I'm forgetting his name, but he was a strength and conditioning coach for the LA Rams. And he was the first person at the time to be the strength and conditioning coach for the LA Kings, which is the ice hockey, and they won the Stanley Cup. And then he went to the Rams or somewhere, was it the Raiders? And they won the Super Bowl, or they got the final Super Bowl. I think they won it. And somebody had said to him, or he says, people always ask me what, importance. He says it's working environment. So for them, he literally went in and they sort of headhunted him. He said, right, I need at least 6-7 million quid to get out the strength room. Obviously it's America, so it's bigger, better. And he showed pictures of before were pretty good. But when it was after, they had all the tech, you name it, they had it. Like absolutely brand new weights, but all the thing of like the calipers, but the electronic calipers for body fat and dietitians and nutritionists. Like I say, in 2 or 3 years, a bit like Wrexham, they've gone in and they've got rid of the old-fashioned rooms and weight rooms, and
it creates a no excuse culture.
Love that.
Alex Ferguson was always banging on about that, weren't he, at Man United, which are a terrible, terrible football scene at the moment. But yeah, I had to get that in. Paul.
Are they still in the Premier League?
Yes, yeah. If it wasn't for the worst 3 teams to go up into the Premier League, Man United.
We've just lost all the early watchers in Manchester. Go on.
Yeah.
Go on. No, even Arsene Wenger, wasn't it, with all his ideas, and that came down to the changing rooms. What they did with the changing rooms. Do you remember in the new stadium? Arsene Wenger created it with all in a way that it was one of the first changing rooms where it was a circle where you all faced each other and the manager could stand in the middle. That was sort of one of the first to do that. Now they're all like that. All the changing rooms in the Premier League are pretty much built around that design.
It's the David Brailsford thing, isn't it? It's the whole marginal gains, just trying it. Because when you get to that top level, apart from like your Ronaldos and your Messis who are, skill levels exceptional, pretty much 95, 96, 97% of people in the Premier League are there or thereabouts. Yeah. It's the teams are there or thereabouts. It's what are the little tiny little nudges, those little gains you can give somebody to make it makes a big difference. There's any given Sunday, Al Pacino talks about inch by inch. It's a really, really good speech, and it's that in sport. You've got to crawl, you've got to drag, you've got to fight. And business is the same. What is going to give me that little bit of a advantage over my competition?
I think as well. I think it's Alex Ferguson again, to go back to him, said, and to quote the source, was discipline and hard work are talents. Like we think of flair, we think of creativity, we think of, I don't know, even salespersonship as a talent. But he went, no, discipline is a talent. Yeah. If you can see who's got discipline, you think that's a talented kid.
Yeah. Even more now, how many kids do you see with those sort of traits? Not many. Well,
Jack, when my son played for, I think it was his last football team, they had some really good kids there. Like, they're on some of the academies like Sunderland and Middlesbrough. And I didn't speak to him, but one of the other dads who's banging his football recognised a kid, a bloke, and he was a scout. And he was having a bit of a chat, and none of our kids were good enough. It was some of the other kids he came to look at. And he said to him, what do you look at? And he said, attitude and coach. At this level, attitude and coachability, nothing else. Obviously, we want them to stand out and bang in the goals.
I had a boss, right? And like I've heard it from the football that Charlotte's involved in. The guy said, I can tell you if the player's going to be half decent just from the warm-up.
No way. Because you get stuck in.
Because they'll do everything properly. So if they're doing open the gates, which is for your hips and your groin, some kids
go through the motions.
doing it like the Brazilians. Yeah. But I had an old boss and they said, if you come in at 9 o'clock and you're at your desk, you're not for me. If you come in at 10 to 9, you have a cup of tea, you settle down. I don't expect you to do any work.
Mm-hmm.
It's ready. And then the minute but he said, so his thing was, it was a she was an editor. And she said, 20 minutes early, they're the best. They're going to be the best journalists because they start work before they need to. But that's personal pride driving them. 10 minutes early, yeah, they're pretty good because they're getting themselves ready, but they'll go, oh, it's 9 o'clock now. That's not the mindset we're after. 9 o'clock there, and they're starting at 9:15. It's just they're not for us. They're not, they're not going to be the ones that make it to. It would have been Fleet Street back then, and that sort of stuff, or even do well. So I think that's indicative in any walk of life. You know what I mean?
You've got to put the effort in. I mean, there are some things that don't require any talent whatsoever. Like they just do not require talent. When you're being knocked on the floor, get up. Putting the effort in, turning up early doesn't require. It's not talent. And I think there's a lot of people in any industry, not just ours, that just want to do just enough. They just want to course through. They just want just enough valuations.
That's why I'm struggling. I don't even want to do just enough. I want to do
less.
Like a game of hide and seek with me. Do you know what I mean? Digital hide and seek. Where's Jerry? I see Chris Watson. He's everywhere on social media. People say, "Why don't you post?" A, because my focus is on WhatsApp. That's my thing, right? That was my thing. And B, I just think, I did a post, and like you get all the people coming back and forth, and you kind of feel duty bound to answer them all. And I was just about to answer the first one back, and then I just thought, I went off and watched Vikings or something like that. Anyway, I'm just lazy.
Good. I tell you what, guys, I think we've been on for quite a while there.
I think you're right.
Yeah, good stuff. Well, listen, thanks again, everybody. Hope you enjoy it.
Question, sorry, JP, a question, and I never know the answer to this. Are you a Sunderland fan or Middlesbrough? That way?
Sunderland.
So you could be you've got a good chance of.
Yeah. Beat Coventry. Yeah. We've just got to get them at home, and then we're in the finals. Yeah.
I'll be watching.
I'm surrounded by smoggies, all the Middlesbrough fans and stuff.
Right,
Mackham. Yeah. I'm a Mackham living in Smogland. Doesn't go down well.
Right.
I think it's okay because they're all crap, so no one's really bothered at the minute. So, all right, guys.
Brilliant. Thanks, everyone. Great week.